Okay, so, whoops, I think we are getting there. Just have to go through this, and there we are. So we are getting ready for yoga, and hopefully I'm also going live on Instagram. So we're not quite started yet, so we'll start here at 5:30. So we'll see what happens and who is coming to yoga today. So good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good evening. So we are getting ready for our yoga session, and we will start here in a few minutes. So you can get yourself ready. If you're using a yoga mat, get your mat out. I have my blocks out, so if you have yoga blocks, nice to have out. If you don't have yoga blocks, maybe you have a couple of cushions, and cushions are great as well, just to kind of open up and create a bit of space. So we don't need everything. You don't actually need a yoga mat either. Hello, nice to see you as well, Julie. Oh yeah, I pretend that you are there, Veronique. You know, some of you I haven't seen for a long time, but I haven't seen anyone for a long time because obviously I'm just kind of here. So it's a weird situation, but we can pretend. And I hope you're well. So if you're on, just say hello, and maybe if anything specific is going on that you're happy to share on the Facebook, on Instagram. I have a theme that I want us to practice around, but obviously if there's anything else going on, let me know. So yeah, that's it. So yeah, so we started really our sessions kind of working when it was the full moon. So we were working around the hips at that area at the full moon. Then last week it was more that core connections, lots of twisting, arm balancing, and now we are on that cusp of it's a dark moon just turning into the new moon. So it's another interesting time. Hi, Caroline. So we are at the other phase of the lunar cycle of the new moon. So as you kind of get ready, and I'll just kind of continue to talk as you get ready, but if you're on Facebook and you're joining us on Facebook, then just say hello. Jane, hi. Great to see you as well. I pretend that you are here. I found a photo which I put on Facebook with someone teaching yoga to a lot of action men on little mats, and I thought, yeah, that's kind of that's how I pretend that you are around me. But yeah, say hello if you are on Facebook, because I can't see on Instagram. I think I can see who's coming. So yeah, so as we get ready, let's just start in a comfortable seat. So you can sit cross-legged, you can sit on your heels, you can sit on a couple of cushions, maybe on your blocks or meditation cushion. And I'm just going to move a little bit further back and away from the screen, and so you can see all of me. So just finding a comfortable seat. Wonderful. And you can close the eyes. So we're just starting the session, so you find a comfortable seat. Close the eyes if that's comfortable. So that's it. Wonderful. And so all the different waves, the wave that we're in now is that auspicious time of the waning moon, completely dark, and it will become the new moon. So we are on that, just that in between space. So maybe as you're seated, maybe hands on your heart or in a prayer, however you feel. Just drop into your heart center. And allow the breath to move around the heart. So into your hands, into your shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades, and breathing into your side ribs. Just keep this breath going of the expansiveness of the inhale. And when you exhale, just let the breath come out, maybe through the mouth, through the nose, whatever feels comfortable. And for those who are just joining us, again, you're just in a comfortable seat. Maybe hands in a prayer, hands at your heart center. And so we might say the heart center, but it's the energetic heart. So at the sternum. And then this is your intention. Your intention perhaps of what you're leaving behind, what you're bringing into the new lunar cycle. So this is the new moon rising. We're on that cusp that we're just starting the new lunar cycle tomorrow during this night. And there might not be anything coming up, or there might be a very specific intention. But this moment, just enter into your heart, to your breath. And feel softness around the heart. Letting the shoulder blades release away from the ears. Feeling the collarbones broadening. The belly becomes soft and it becomes easier for you to breathe. When you're ready, bring the palms together in a prayer at the heart center. And so we'll voice our exhale, we'll sound the breath with a single Om together. So let's breathe in. Open the eyes. Lovely. So we will just stay seated for a while. So if you're cross-legged, just cross the legs the other way around. So what leg was in front is now the back. So we'll start to really feel openness and spaciousness around the chest. And we'll do that by bringing the fingertips to the shoulders. Bring your elbows out in front and towards each other. And then lift the elbows towards the ceiling and all the way back. And so you make these big circles with your elbows. And you know your body the best, and I think the blessing of doing this home practice is that you're checking in with your body. You're your own best teacher. So we are really starting to become honest with ourselves of if we need to modify, if we need to go deeper, if we need to go less deep. Perfect. Feeling these circular movements, and then circle the opposite direction and really make them big. So stretch between the shoulder blades as your elbows forward. Roll the shoulder blades away from the ears and then broaden across the collarbones as you stretch them back. So really starting to feel how much movement can you have across the chest, behind the chest, between the shoulder blades. Perfect. And then from here, interlace your fingers and take the palms of your hands just towards the back of your head. So as we do that, we might have a tendency to stick the ribs out. Just take them back in again, because we are focusing really on the thoracic part of the body. So feeling the elbows drawing out, and then as you exhale, you can just drop the head down, and then the elbows move towards each other. Inhale to open. Exhale, just rest the head down, but keep your chest high. So again, this might be in a slow motion, or it might be really quick. Maybe not really quick, but just notice how the body is for you. So your body is this moment, your breath. Wonderful. And then bring the elbows out again. Release the hands down. Stretch your left leg out to the side and modify. So if you need to sit on something, sit on something. If you need to bend the knee, bend the knee. Both sitting bones are grounded. We'll get a little bit more flow and openness. So bring your left hand to the inside of the left leg. Take your right arm behind you. Just stretch it to open across the collarbones. Then take your hand all the way out in front. You can touch the floor as you stretch the right arm all the way towards the ceiling. So really find as much mobility and fluidity in the body. So we haven't warmed up, but this is our warm-up. So just let your body move where it needs to go. You don't have to push yourself. The element of air that resides in the heart, or in the area around the chest, is sometimes very quick and erratic, sometimes not very coordinated. So what we want to do is to create balance. So maybe we need to slow it down, maybe we need to bring the energy up. So we'll take that right hand all the way towards the right hip, and then shift onto your right shin, left arm all the way beyond the hip, and then feel the openness again across the chest. Press through the left foot, extend through the left arm, find space. All the way back to sitting. Take your right leg out to the side, left knee bends and heel towards your groin, right hand to the earth. So let's flow again, taking that left fingertips all the way towards the foot, all the way to the ceiling and round. Perfect. So again, just doing this in your own rhythm. Find your own rhythm. How is your breath? And notice again, one side might be a lot different. Perfect. And so as you started to create space around the ribcage, we'll shift onto the hands and knees, spreading the fingers out. Have your hands underneath the shoulders, lift up into your shoulder blades and hug in. So it's almost like the hugging in a little bit. Not that you round the back, but there's support. From here, we'll shift into our downward facing dog. So you can lift the hips high. You can bend one knee, stretch the other heel down, keeping that length. So as you stay in your downward facing dog, hips extending, and you create length through the spine. So it's really like that you have more space between every single vertebra. So really finding that movement and space in the body. Then you can feel the intercostal muscles. You can imagine that they are extending, they're stretching, so you have space for your breath. And you lift your rib cage and your hips away from each other, and you breathe. And you can exhale through the mouth. So sometimes that kind of exhale is a good place to be as well. Lovely. And so from here we'll start to flow. So inhale into a plank pose. Exhale, either lower halfway down or all the way down. Inhale, either cobra pose, belly on the floor, or upward dog, just hands on the tops of your feet on the ground, and then downward facing dog. Beautiful. So let's continue this. Inhale into a plank pose. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. So this is your breath. Inhaling into a plank. Exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale, lift your heart, back bending, downward facing dog. Perfect. So just keep the feet hip distance apart. So align with your sitting bones more or less. We'll come into side plank. So we'll come forward into a plank pose. We'll drop the heels to our left side. So we'll rest the left hand. Right arm to the sky or beyond your head. So finding that length. And beyond your forearm, you could bring that left knee down, just like we did in the beginning, or right foot forward. So you do the for your shoulders, for your wrist. But again, find that left. Want to breathe. Come plank pose, downward facing dog. Perfect. Inhale into a plank pose. Lower down on the exhale. Inhale, cobra, upward dog. Downward facing dog. So let's enjoy side plank again. Shift forward, shoulders over the heels of the hands. Heels to the side. Left arm all the way beyond the head if you can. And find the extension. So the challenge is that we sometimes collapse down. But what we want is that openness. So we are in the plank pose. Instead of collapsing down, we want openness, space, length. And you find that movement. And you still breathe. So if you get anxious or stressed, then notice if you can change the breath. Come back to your plank pose. Slowly lower down. Inhale to a back bend, and we'll meet in a downward facing dog. Now you can always choose, good. So you can always choose downward dog, you can choose a child's pose. You know, even when we flow, if that just feels too much, then you just stay in downward dog or plank pose, or downward dog or a child's pose. Let's walk the feet towards the hands, so you're in a standing forward into the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold it all the way, standing forward bend. Inhale, reach your arms all the way out in front and then all the way to the sky. And hands to the heart. Beautiful. So you'll stay feet together underneath the sitting bones. Maybe close the eyes. Again, hands to the center of the chest. In a prayer. Reconnecting to your heart, to your heartbeat, to your breath, to your intention. So a new moon coming. What are you releasing? What are your intentions for the new lunar cycle? And this is what we create space for. Reach your arms all the way out to the side and above the head. Grab hold of your left wrist with your right hand, and you can again extend and lift, so find space. You can rest your right ear on your right arm and then stretch to the side. But again, you don't want to collapse down. You want openness. Extend all the way back to the ceiling. Grab hold of your right wrist with your left hand. Extend and stretch towards your left side and breathe. Reach all the way back up. Bring the palms to your heart. Take a deep breath in and all the way out. And so the wonder of technology is that sometimes things pause or freeze. So apologies when that happens. Yesterday the internet wasn't very good, but today seems better. But we'll go with the flow, and sometimes that is, we just breathe. So spread your toes out, press with the balls of the feet, press with the in and outer heel. Inhale, reach your prayer to the sky, lifting the ribcage. Exhale, standing forward, bend hands towards the earth. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, and then exhale, fold it. We'll step the right leg back. Take the left leg back into your plank pose and slowly lower down. Inhale to cobra, upward dog, downward facing dog. So from here we'll step the feet together. Reach your right leg behind you, one-legged downward dog, and then step the foot between the hands, back foot flat, warrior one pose. So just press your feet down. We want that connection to the earth, and then extend the arms towards the sky. Finding length and openness. So to get a little bit more space, we'll bend the left elbow, hand apart. You can stay here. So just lifting that left elbow, right hand onto the left elbow. Or you can choose to take the right arm all the way around, grab hold of your t-shirt, or grab hold of your fingertips. If you have a sock or anything else you can use to extend your arms, like a yoga belt, you can stay with that. And so last week we were doing all the connection into our core. So we still want a little bit of that fire. So just reignite that lift through the pelvic floor and the lower abdomen, but then lift your heart. So as a warrior, we are ready to enter into this new lunar month. Whatever challenges, whatever inspirations may come, we are still here. Straighten the legs. And so we will come into warrior 3 pose. So for my space, I need just to take my right foot further in. So short step, square your hips, keep your heart forward, lift the back heel off the floor. So now straight line from the left elbow to the left heel as you shift forward into your warrior 3 pose. And you're extending through that left heel, through the crown of the head, down into the earth. But keep that lift and openness across the chest in your heart. Shift all the way back. Release the hands. So sometimes balance is easier than others. Release the hands to the earth. Downward facing dog or child's pose. You can stay in your downward dog, you can stay in your child's pose, or again, inhale to a plank pose, lower it down halfway or all the way, inhale to a back bend, downward facing dog. So we'll enjoy on the other side. So downward facing dog, extend that left leg behind you, step the foot between the hands, back foot flat, warrior 1. And once you have that stability, bend your right elbow, so right elbow to the sky. Again, you can hold on to your right elbow with your left hand, or you can take the arm behind you, hold on to your t-shirt, your fingertips. Good. And you breathe. So last week, especially in the Saturday session, you can still see the sessions, they're on Facebook and they're on YouTube. On Saturday we talked about this warrior goddess, Durga, and we talked about her and that connection to fire and being grounded and protected, but still have that fire and the strength. She was a warrior goddess, she manifested Kali. So even in this pose, we have that support, stability and focus, even as we embrace this as a bit of a back bend. So lifting the heart, finding that openness through the right hip, lift the back heel off the floor, shift slightly forward, and then you can start to extend warrior three pose. And so again, finding that extension, standing on the left leg. I think I did my arms wrong. So really finding that extension through the right elbow to the right toes, but your heart is still open. So if you've been feeling like you collapse because you're sitting down a lot, just because you feel overwhelmed and just heavy, even as we fold forward, we open, and we do that through these Gurmukhasana arms. And even if we might wobble, even if we might fall and come in and out of the variation, we find our center. This is a good thing, it's fine, we can wobble. We'll flow all the way back, warrior one pose. Extend the arms to the sky, hands to the hips, straighten the legs, turn your toes to the long side of your mat. And we'll fold forward. Keep your hands on your hips, so you find your hip points. And basically it's just your pelvis moving, your spine is staying in that long, extended, elongated way. So just moving the thigh bones in the hip sockets. Extend your heart forward, feel your thighs are pressing back. And you can stay here, hands on your thighs, maybe hands on blocks, maybe hands on your big toes, between your feet. But you want to be in a space where you can breathe. And then slowly come half. Bring the hands to the hips and rise all the way up. Beautiful. We'll extend the arms out to the side, and your feet are probably underneath your hands. We'll come into triangle pose. So let's start by turning the right toes out to the side, and as you do that, if the pelvis shifts along with it, you shift your alignment with it. So hip point, front of the knee, toes in the same direction. You can take a wider step, that's fine. You don't need to take the long step. Keep lifting that right thigh bone into the hips, swing your hips to the side, and let's just extend the right arm as far as we can and keep it kind of by our ears. Left arm can be extended as well. So we're extending. Sometimes I say it's like we hold a beach ball between the hands. So we can imagine that. Now I'm on the beach, you can maybe hear the seagulls. So you can imagine being on the beach holding a big beach ball. If you collapse down, open up. Extend and hand into the floor or to your thigh or shin. And again, find that length. Rotating your rib cage so it faces up towards the ceiling. The clear blue sky. Now extend your left arm to the ceiling and then all the way towards your left leg, down to the floor and out in front of you again. So we're doing this circular movement. And again, perhaps imagine moving from your heart. So it's not just wiggling your arm around. The movement is coming. So you are opening across the collarbones as the arm extends towards the ceiling. You are spreading across between the shoulder blades as the arm moves down. Beautiful. I just love these variations because especially triangle pose can be such a rigid variation, but doing something like this, we create a bit of fluidity and openness where most of us can feel very tight. And let's inhale back to our warrior two pose, bending the right knee over the right heel, arms extend. Bring the hands to the hips, straighten the legs, turn your toes to the long side of the mat, and we'll fold forward again. So you can extend through the chest, hands on your block, the floor, wherever it's comfortable for you. So taking that few moments just to let your body ease into the shape. Forward bends are that sense of letting go, of releasing. It's said to be calming. So allow that to manifest. Bring the hands to the hips, extend through the chest, and you rise up. Perfect. Warrior two pose, left toes point out. So bend that left knee, find that extension. Moving from your heart, you have whatever intention you have in your heart. Bend for this new cycle, this lunar cycle. Just express that through your arms, stand proud. Whatever your warrior mission is for the 29 days or so, you are standing in it, grounded and supported. Straighten out both legs. Again, lift with that left thigh. It's an external rotation. So you really, for most of us, want that knee, the middle toes in the same direction. Right hip can shift slightly forward and you can adjust your back leg. Reach your left arm as far as you can. Right arm above the head as well. So you're back on the beach holding that big beach ball. And it's not heavy, it's light. So you can open the chest towards the sky. Then bring the left hand down to your leg, moving from your heart. Extend the right arm to the ceiling, opening across the collarbones, shoulder blade away from the ear. As the right fingertips move down to the floor, stretch between the shoulder blades, and then extend the rib cage away from the hips as the arm moves to the side. So really delicious. So making that movement count. This is your body. Really feel all these different muscles. So can you feel, continuing this movement, can you feel the muscles around your shoulder blades, underneath your shoulder blades, on the shoulder blades? How does the body want to move? How does your front of your shoulder feel? What does it feel like across the collarbones? Does the rib cage even want to move, to undulate? Maybe you want even more shaking out, and then your body will just do that. Inhale, warrior two pose. Exhale, hand your left foot, downward facing dog or a child's pose. And again, your variation, you stay here or you inhale into a plank pose, lower down halfway or all the way. Inhale, cobra, upward dog, downward facing dog, everyone. Beautiful. So let's meet on the hands and knees. And we'll get a little bit more openness and the openness in the hips. So let's keep, I'll straighten out the right leg behind us, drop the heel, left leg moves back. So we come into this half plank pose like we did in the beginning. So keeping that openness, just feel that space, really stretch. This should feel really nice just in the waist. Now you can stay here or you can lift the right leg away from the floor. So almost like we had that straight line. You can stay here, or you bend your leg, grab hold of your ankle, and you move your foot away from you. So it might feel tempting to lift the foot up, but if you can keep it kind of aligned with your hip, that would be great. And then as you press your foot behind you, you lift through the chest. Extend the right leg out to the side again. Maybe right fingertips to the sky. Bring the foot down. We'll walk the hands all the way out in front of us. And then we'll take the right hand to the right leg, left arm towards the ceiling. Stay here, or slide that right hand slowly down your leg. So you're not pressing on it, it's just there. Walk the hands out in front of you, all the way to the front of the mat. Keep your knees, keep your hips, hands slightly forward, and then either release the hip to the floor or your heart towards the earth. Keep the elbows on the ground and just shift your shoulders over the elbows. Relax the pelvis down and you are in your Sphinx pose. And from Sphinx pose, you can just release your hips a bit. Just find a bit of softness. The body wants to move. It can be fluid. And while we are here, you can start to allow the tailbone just to draw closer to the pubic bone, just so we have a bit more space in the lumbar spine. Lift out of the shoulders, extend your heart forward. So if this is really easy, it might be that you are hanging out like this. So lift up, or up. Let's lift the crown of the head up, lift up. So you have space between your ears and your shoulders. And then really stretch your chest forward. Roll the shoulder blades away from the ears. Tailbone to pubic bone. So you're pressing the pubic bone to the earth. You can stay here, just bend the knees. Keep lifting for your heart. Opening up. Release the feet to the floor, hands underneath the shoulders, cobra pose or upward dog, and downward facing dog. So let's just flow from here, or you stay as you are. Inhaling into a plank pose, lower down as you exhale. In your back bend, cobra, upward dog, downward facing dog. Perfect. We'll meet on the hands and knees. Straighten out the left leg, left heel drops to the floor, right foot out to the side, and then again the left arm extending, so we have all of that space and we can breathe. Again, your choice, you can stay here or you use that leg. And finding length. You could even extend your left arm to the ceiling, almost like half moon pose. You can choose to bend the foot or bend the knee, press the foot away from you. Again, if the foot comes up, just tone it down a little bit. Lift your heart towards the sky. Opening up into your front body. Straighten that leg down towards the floor again. We'll walk the hands all the way towards the left foot. So left hand onto your left leg, right arm to the sky. You can stay here. You start to extend. You breathe in between the ribs. Find space to breathe. walk the hands all the way back to the front of the mat. Stay on your knees, hips over your knees, hands extending forward, hip to the floor, or releasing the chest towards the earth. So again, your variation, just stay here breathing, letting the heart melt. So you're opening up, yet you're surrendering whatever you're not needing any longer, whatever unnecessary tension is releasing. You create space for this new lunar cycle. Beautiful. Just 2 more breaths. Lovely. And then keeping the elbows, the forearms on the floor, shifting forward, pelvis towards the ground, Sphinx pose. And just keep that lift, but drop the head down and just shake the head no. Just very slowly from side to side. Relax the jaw. Release the tongue. And maybe the head or the shoulders or the spine in different ways. So letting a bit of fluidity move through the body. The element of air is move, it's transportation. So how can we move to feel more content, more balanced, more centered, more light, more grounded? Tuck the toes under, stay on your forearms and start to press into the balls of the feet, tailbone to pubic bone, lift your ribs off the floor and then start to lift your thighs off the floor. So you're in a forearm plank pose. Lift up into your shoulder blades so you still have space to breathe here. And keep the support through your navel center, your core fire. So if there's any residue, this fire to transform, to burn, or maybe you want to put something into the sacred fire, then this is the time. Three more breaths. And release the pelvis down, the heart lifts. Wonderful. Turn onto your left side, or whatever side you want. I'm turning to the left so you can see me. And we are lying down on the left side, and our head is resting in our left hand. From here, bend your right knee to grab big toes. And then start to extend that right leg towards the ceiling. So you might hold on to your thigh, you might have a belt or a tie or a scarf. So it's almost like our triangle pose. That right thigh is rotating out. So your knees and your toes are pointing towards your head in that direction. And you might notice that that left leg needs to be quite grounded and very active. If you keep falling, you might want to bend that left knee. That's absolutely fine. Release. Take the foot behind you, so just a little bit behind you. Right knee points up. We'll lift up onto our left hand. So now we are sitting up. Left leg remains straight, right leg behind you. And we'll press into the right foot to lift the left hip And then again, we can extend that right arm behind the hip, lifting the chest towards the sky, finding openness. Slowly it all the way back down. Slide all the way forward into your Sphinx pose. And you can come into prostration pose. You can always take a moment here to rest. Maybe you come up onto your fingertips, maybe your heart lifts, and maybe again you just want to let the body move or undulate. Let the spine become fluid, the neck release, the jaw release. Your legs can even move. So releasing any of that restrictions or holding on, creating space for what is to come. Beautiful. So let's come back down to the abdomen. We'll roll onto our right side. So again, I'm facing away from you. So I hope you can still hear, especially on Facebook. Now I'm wearing a mic, so I'm not sure how good that is, but hopefully it works. We'll shift onto the right side. Hold your head with your right hand. Stretch through that right leg. Bending your left knee, grab hold of your big toes, behind your leg, your trousers, your belt. Extend the left leg towards the sky. And you're really extending through your feet. Both feet. And you have length, so you're creating space in your body. This is like your triangle pose. So finding length and openness and lightness through that left foot that's opening up towards the sky. And again, we might wobble a bit to find our balance, and that's how life is. We wobble to find our balance. We move forward, backwards, side to side. We are in constant movement. Let's bend the left knee. So the left foot is slightly behind us. You can stay on the ball of the foot. Take your left hand and just lift up. So your right hand underneath the right shoulder. Right leg super strong and straight. So I think this one just paused. So you're on that side. So you're having your leg behind you. Right leg is straight. And we'll lift up. So press into that left foot, into your right foot, and then your heart can lift towards the sky. So almost like a back bend, with the right leg straight, left knee can bend. But heart to the sky, and you're just opening up, so ready shape. Shift all the way back, downward facing dog. So your choice, downward dog, child's pose, or you inhale into a plank pose. Lower down on the exhale. Inhale to a back bend, downward facing dog. You can do this one more time, finding that flow, plank pose, slow it down, back bend. And we meet in a downward facing dog. Really nice. Perfect. And you breathe. Always breathe. So from your downward dog, let's walk the feet and the hands together, forward bend. Bending the knees slightly just to lengthen through the back of the body, but also having space in the front. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reach your prayer all the way towards the sky. And hands to the heart. Beautiful. So we will stay standing just for a little bit longer. If you have your blocks, take a block to the front and to the back of the mat. And we'll come to half moon pose in a moment. So Ardha Chandrasana, a half moon pose. And I know for some of you, you prefer to be closer to a wall. If you want support on the floor, you might actually have a chair, a table near you, and you can use that. Ready for a bit of balance. So standing towards the middle of the mat, just feel your feet grounding you, rooting down. You're grounded, supported, and this might be half moon pose or Ardha Chandrasana, but we are embracing that the lunar cycle. We are moving to the new moon, new lunar month. So we are embracing that openness. So let's keep this an open, light pose, bringing it all in. Step your feet apart, turn your right toes to the end of the mat, left toes slightly in. And we'll just come into a small triangle pose. So right hand can be on the thigh or the shin. And think of that openness across the chest, almost like you could lean against an imaginary wall behind you. So instead of collapsing down, really feel that broadness. We can keep the right hand on the right hip. I'm just going to move a little bit so you can see me. So right hand can come to your block, or maybe a foot in front of your toes. Start to press down through the foot to lift the left leg up. And again, you have that extension. So to keep your balance easier to look down, you can stay here, or the alternative is to bend that back leg and then you open up, just like we did when the knee was on the floor. And so this way, as you hold on to your foot, you can truly open across the chest and allow that openness in your heart. So I'm really wobbly. This is the new moon, my own new lunar cycle as well, so I'm always a bit wobbly at this time. But maybe start to ease into it. Sunday, you can stay here, you can come in and out. But sometimes when we stay there, it's just really difficult for me sometimes to talk and be in the pose. Then you stay, you breathe, and something shifts, maybe in your mind, and then the body will follow. Sometimes something shifts in your breath, and then the body follows. Or maybe your body suddenly goes, oh, this is where I want to be. Your breath quiets down. Your mind is just in that zone. It's such a beautiful thing when that happens. But we need to be there for that to happen. Release the leg away from you. Slowly shift back. Straightening the legs. Turn your toes in the same direction. You can shake it out a little bit. You can be in your Tadasana mountain pose. Just let your body sway. Just feeling the connection to the ground. Again, stability, support. So organize your arrangement. If you want support under your left hand, have that support ready for you. So we'll come into half moon pose on the other side. So almost like a small triangle pose, left toes point out, left thigh rotates out, and the hip might shift down a little bit. So keep your right hand on your right hip, keep broadening the collarbones because you can see if you're collapsing or if you're opening. Bring your left fingertips to the floor or to your block or to your chair, and then the extension. And once you have that, maybe that's what you want to play with. Maybe you grab hold of your foot or your ankle and you press that foot away from you to open across the chest. So finding the breath in this variation. And I sometimes talk about this pose, it's half moon pose, but I always think, you know, when you're in that room, you just look like stars. There's stars in the sky. So we are all stardust. Wonderful. Just a couple of more breaths. If you come out, you can come back in again. And when you're ready, you shift out of the pose. Both feet to the ground, maybe hand on heart and belly. Maybe in Tadasana with your arms by your side. Feeling both feet firmly grounding you. Feel your breath in the body. And so we will come down to sitting in a moment. So I'm going to move down for a squat, but we'll have options. So if you come, well, we can all start the same way. So we can just press your feet to the ground, feet wide apart, and bring your forearms to your thighs as you bend your knees. So if squatting is not good for you, you can come down through your hands and knees, walking your hands forward, bringing the knees down, and come into a child's pose. If you're unsure, I'll demonstrate in a minute. If you come through a squat, you simply bend your knees, maybe your heels on cushions. If you're unsure of how to come down into the child's pose, then from here, you just walk your hands forward, knees on the floor, and then you can rest in child's pose. So your variation, child's pose or malasana or yogic squat. And whatever variation, feel a bit of openness and lightness through the heart. Just a little bit of space. And then when you're ready, we'll sit down and we can bring the knees to the chest, hugging the knees in, lift through your heart. And we'll come to spinal twist. So again, I'll give lots of options. We'll keep the right knee bent, straighten out the left leg. This is option one, so have as much space as you need, hugging the knee in. Or second option, foot to the outside. You want to have that sole of the right foot flat on the floor, right sitting bone flat on the floor. Stay here, or bend your left leg so the left heel is by your right hip. Both sitting bones on the ground, left foot firmly to the ground. Hug your knee in, lift through the chest, right arm behind you, whatever variation you enjoy, and keep that broadness across the chest. You can gaze over your right shoulder. And just breathe. So we are coming up just to that time where Instagram might switch off soon. But once that happens, I'm looking at the screen. So if that happens, I'll put it straight back on again. So you simply just join us there. Otherwise, wherever you are, you just breathe. gaze forward again, and you'll untangle your legs wherever they are. You can circle ankles. Bend your left knee towards you, lift with the chest. Your option on the other side, you stay here, or foot to the outside of the right leg, or you bend the right knee, right heel towards your left hip. Lift the chest, left arm behind you, and enjoy the twist. So stay here breathing. And so letting the body breathe. Lovely. So just a couple of more breaths. So from your twist, you will uncross your legs again. Release your legs out in front. To circle the ankles. So we are out of our variation. So for those of you on Instagram joining us, now you can extend your legs, circle the ankles. Just sitting with your legs out in front. Lovely. So coming out of the spinal twist, you're simply extending your legs out in front, circling the ankles, finding a bit of space. And we will come to gentle forward bend. So if you find forward bend challenging and you prefer to sit on your box or cushions, go ahead. Bend your knees towards you, take your arms to the outside of your legs. Grab hold either of the little toe side of your feet or your big toes. Keep your belly on your thighs. You can close the eyes and you can slowly take your feet or your heels slightly away from you. I'm just going to slightly away. You can rest your head on your knees. And so we'll stay here for a few breaths. So you might notice that little by little your legs can extend away from you. They can start to straighten. But wherever you are, you want to be in a variation where you're not completely collapsing your belly or compressing your belly. You want to find a bit of space. And then from there you can soften. So in your forward bend, the waves of your breaths are so beautiful to watch. That expansiveness of the inhale, the letting go of the exhale. Inhale, expanding, chest moves away from the pubic bone, and then the exhale, maybe you fold deeper. your hands to, again, hug the knees in. And just take your hands slightly away from the hips, so behind you, lift the chest. And then you can come into tabletop, lifting your hips, creating space in your front body. You could straighten the legs as well, if that feels good. And slowly sit down. Beautiful. So we will come to relaxation. So you can bend your knees, roll onto your back, and if your lower back is sensitive, you can stay here or just stretch your legs out, arms by your side. So finding your Shavasana, lying on the back, knees bent, feet on the floor, or stretch your legs out, thighs rolling out. And as the back of your head is resting on the mat or on the ground, you can slowly take your head to one side and to the other. So with the eyes closed, you can move the right ear towards the mat and then the left ear towards the mat. So releasing any build up around your neck, letting the head release. Eventually you find that perfect spot you want to rest in. So you notice the back of the head becoming heavy on the ground. Feel the space between the ears and the shoulders. The neck is relaxed. And the shoulder blades releasing towards the ground, broadening the collarbones. And the arms are heavy on the earth. The chest is light. The belly is soft. And feel the buttocks resting on the mat. Letting the hips release. Notice the heaviness, the gravity of your thighs, knees, lower legs, ankles, and feel the heels touching the floor. And become aware of the soles of the feet. And feeling the whole body resting on the mat. Surrendering to whatever is. Releasing what needs to be released. And yet being open to what is to come. So together we'll stay here for a few minutes. So obviously you can always come out. But I will just let you rest and I'll take you out of the variation in a 5 minutes time. But this is just your time to breathe and to be. And stay in relaxation for as long as you like, if you have the opportunity to stay resting. Otherwise, you can start to deepen the breath, becoming fully present in the body. Perhaps moving the fingers and the toes, stretch the jaw and the tongue. And just like we started Shavasana, you can roll the head from side to side. And then stretching out. Hug the knees to the chest. And we'll start to think about coming up to sitting again. So if you come up to sitting, you can roll to one side, roll along the spine, finding your way into a comfortable seat. And once you're seated, you can bring the palms together in a prayer, Anjali Mudra. And again, take this opportunity to connect to your heart fire, to your intentions, your prayers in your heart. Allowing yourself to be open and compassionate for this next lunar. And I focus for your breath, the time you are to take out to practice, and that you have a space where you can move and practice in. And so to conclude, we'll offer a single Om and then Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So breathing in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining the session today on this sunny evening as we move from the dark moon, and then we'll start to imagine or sense the moon start a new cycle. So if you're recently signed up to my newsletter, you would have received like a little ebook on the lunar cycle, and also how you can work with your yoga poses according to you can translate that to your own moon cycle, so to your menstrual cycle. But we can talk about the moon cycle. Veronique, thank you. Thank you for joining. And I know on Instagram we kind of drop off in an hour into the session and we start again. So it's so nice that you found us again. So if you sign up to my newsletter on my website, it's there. You will get it. Otherwise, let me know and I can send you the link, I think. So thank you for coming on to the call. I'll do another session tomorrow at 12:30 and Saturday at 11. So again, if there's any specific themes that you like, then please let me know. You might even want for me to talk about something completely different out of the yoga sessions, then let me know as well. And I think that's it. So if you have any other thoughts, anything else, if you are still watching, you can say hello or goodbye, whatever you want to say. So I know that you've been on, donation class. So if you have if you want to financially support this, then just go to the website again, to the donation. That's on the profile as well. It's in the link on Facebook. But other ways that you can help support me is just to write comments on these posts, share them. If you're on social media, share them out, let other people know, and that's really helpful if you do that. So yeah, so that's it. So if you have any thoughts, anything you want to let me know in the comment, just go ahead, and I'll just sit here for a few minutes, or a few moments. What are you doing? Maybe you don't really want to do anything after a yoga session. It's like just gonna stay in shavasana, just stay in meditation. But otherwise, you can come back and you can write a little note if there's anything going on or any other thoughts you have. So just reading through the notes. I know that sometimes it just, once you're on the internet, and obviously because everyone is on the internet, it can freeze. Sometimes our internet, we had a week where it dropped off all the time, which was a nightmare because we have the Apple TV, so everything is online. So yeah, that was a bit of a nightmare. So I'm glad that that didn't happen while we've been doing the lives, because Stan, my husband, he's doing lives as well, which he's Qigong. So it's like, we need the internet. We are very reliant, so it's crazy. But I think sometimes it drops off. So yeah, so that happens. That's great. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. It's so nice. I mean, this has been one of these amazing things. People I haven't seen for a long time, I see again. And sometimes, yes, some of you are saying, I can't find you. I'm here and I can't find you. And you kind of have to search, which is also a bit weird. But sometimes you kind of have to search for this video. It doesn't necessarily come up on Facebook, which is another one of those strange things. So I usually switch on just a few minutes earlier. So I'm there, just kind of hanging around a bit. Okay. Oh, that's great to see you, Hannah. Oh, that's annoying. With the freezing is annoying. You just have to stay there, breathe. Yeah. I think yesterday the internet was really challenging. But that's one of those things when you do it live, you just don't know. So lovely. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just here chatting. I've been talking. But yeah, thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely evening. I might see you tomorrow at 12:30 or Saturday at 11. I'll pretend I'm seeing you. So yeah, take photos of you, and you can help me that way as well. Take photos of you in your yoga room and tag me in it. That's another way you can support if you like to do that. Yes, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you when I see you. Thank you. Bye bye. Namaste. Bye.